Let him kick off. We just gotta wait on JP.
Okay.
He'll be on here shortly, but how's Doc? How's everything been? I haven't seen you in a while.
Yeah, good. Everything's really good. Business is busy as always. Got a lot of big events coming up. Gym's doing good. We got new social media stuff kind of going out with the gym and the business. So we've been spending a lot of time doing a lot of photo shoots and video shoots and stuff like that. And yeah, it's good. Jacksonville's catching steam as well. So man, I'm good.
Yeah, I know you guys been posting a lot of stuff lately. So
yeah, like I said, just got to, as it just as everything, as the company continues to grow, we got to have bigger people involved, that can handle bigger companies. So
that's good.
Yep. Let's I got if you guys got some topics you want to talk about, I got a
Doc,
bunch of questions
last
that
time we spoke,
thrown at me.
Where'd he go?
He's coming, he's shutting his door.
Hey Jason, last time we spoke, you talked about some big things coming up with you in the bodybuilding world, man.
Yeah, we're trying to still get some things ironed out, try to sponsor some bigger shows, you know what I'm saying? Start to kind of get our reach out there a little bit. So working with some top guys, see what's going on. Like you said, just kind of in the initial talks with actual just, contracts now. So you know how that goes. You just said it.
Yeah.
So it's always everything's good until you start getting the contracts. I'm like, this doesn't make a lot of sense
yeah,
to me.
man. No doubt about that.
Yeah. Doc, we hadn't had you on since we talked about the Olympia. Did you watch?
Yeah, I did watch it. Yep.
See the result. What did you think?
I really liked the way Lunsford looked.
Yeah.
But I had spoken to him and we were down at a couple places together, and he admitted that he had told me, or he was saying to us, that he did a little bit too much cardio. So he felt like he lost some size on his legs. So he was even a little critique of himself, but I think he has a really incredible look, especially with his waist. I mean, where a lot of the guys are, you still got that bloat in that belly. I mean, he's got good lines. If he can keep it together, he can be forced to be reckoned with for a while.
Yeah.
You will be.
Yeah. Everybody's talking about Big Ramy and his back and all that stuff.
Yeah, he was
nerve damage.
He was less than impressive, unfortunately. You know what I'm saying, compared to what he had been.
Yeah.
Right.
And then even after, then they said that he had stem cells and different things done before the Arnold. They had promised he was going to come back a whole lot better, and I didn't see a whole lot better. Not tremendously, but.
No, we had mentioned something about that, and and I guess a lot of people are reaching out to him, our fans or whatever, tell him to retire. And I'm sorry, but I don't see him coming back winning the Olympia.
No,
I don't see that happening.
No.
Yeah. Well,
now,
I mean, look how long Dexter competed after. He never won the Olympia except in 2008, and he kept doing good.
Yeah.
Now, how many? Besides like Jay Cutler, how many? In the modern era, how many Mr. Olympias have lost and come back and won again?
No one.
Right.
Well, the exception of Jay. No one.
Jay,
that's what I'm saying. No, that's what I'm getting at. It's kind of like once you get knocked off that pedestal, then it gives that other competition time to really catch up. And that's like you were saying, besides when Dexter beat Jay and then the next year Jay came back and won, I think that's the only time. So I agree. I don't think he's gonna. You what you've been able to do now is get other people's look involved. You know what I'm saying? So where he had his good run for the 2 years, I mean, it was massive and he came in really good shape. But now you take like Derek and these guys, and it's like, all right, well, now this might be a shift in what we're looking at. So
yeah, then you got Samson and Andrew.
It makes
you strong.
It makes you wonder if they're going to have remember these 6 or 7 repeat guys. Are we going to have that anymore?
We may not. We may not. It's hard to say.
It sure would be nice if that would not happen, man. We can just have
right now it's done. I mean, Phil Heath was the last one, right?
Yeah. That was it.
Yeah.
Hello, guys.
There hasn't been one
talking
since.
about.
Hey,
JP, how you doing, bro?
JP, what's up?
What did I miss? What was Phil hit the last one?
We were just talking about. I was asking the doc how he felt about the Olympia and placings. We were talking about repeat winners and stuff. And my question was, are we going to see repeats like we had in the past?
Yeah, probably not in a while, but it will happen again.
Yeah.
Maybe Lunsford is the only one I can see right now.
Yeah, we were just talking about him.
Yeah.
But he'll have to keep that. For him, he's got to keep that look. He can't. He's massive, but he can't lose that small waist and being able to still hit that vacuum and stuff. He can't lose that. I think if he does, then he's going to fall kind of back with everybody else.
Yeah.
From what I see right now, maybe there's a serial master winner or doctor here coming.
Yeah.
Here, Dr. Jason, you look pretty buff.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, you have put some size on, Doc.
No. Oh, have I? Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Actually,
we can all see that, brother. It shows pretty good, man.
Well, thank you. Wife made me stop working on Wednesdays, so I got a day I can train now. So
there you go.
Amazing what that whole working out thing can do for you.
Yeah, but listen, Doc, I got a bone to pick, man. I'm sorry, but Chick-fil-A, come on.
I know. I know. I owe you. I owe you big time.
Yeah. Put it up to the monitor so I can smell it.
No,
since I know Steve, and since I did the detox and all this stuff, every time I eat shitty food, I think of Steve. Every freaking time. It's like, what would Steve think right now of me?
I know. And he's like on my shoulder, like I'm getting scolded, and then I feel guilty. The guy, like I just went right through it. Then I'm like, man, it wasn't a good idea.
Well, let me, Doc, I gotta ask you a question here, okay? So
what's up?
You deal with, we're talking about this, and you deal with longevity, okay? You help a lot of people with longevity, and that's important. We know that, and we're talking TRTs and peptides, and a lot of people are getting great results, as we know. But why would people want to put a Band-Aid on a problem when you're on a situation when you're still continuing to put poisons and toxins in your body and you're using a Band-Aid to clear them up, you know what I mean? And I mean that with all due respect when it comes to, like, if we talk about Chick-fil-A, for example, okay? I can go off on that, exactly what's in it, how it's harming your body. And it's just, as we know, our men's testosterone levels in this world are down by the millions. I mean, I gave a speech not too long ago to a men's group and talked about, as you know, like a men's testosterone level is supposed to be 90 million per mil, okay, in terms of sperm count. And we're down to 45 million. Now, and that has a lot to do, and that's almost like to the point where it's you can't sustain life after a while. But the thing is, when we look at our society, we take all these things to help us out, anti-longevity, longevity products and peptides and try to eat the best and supplements and so on. But yet we don't see that a lot of the foods that we eat are absolutely loaded with pesticides and herbicides and toxins. So it's like a bucket of water, okay? A 5-gallon bucket of water, I'm going to drop one little drop of bleach in there. You'd still drink it, right? It's good. Let's put that drop of bleach in every day. Eventually, that entire 5-gallon bucket is going to become full of bleach. You're not going to drink it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's the same thing we're doing with our body every day, but continue to put these poisons and these toxins and these pesticides. I mean, people think they're eating good fruits and vegetables, but they don't realize what's on them. I mean, you're losing a lot of stuff by that. I mean, I'm just bringing that subject up. But what are your thoughts?
Oh, no, and you're right. And I had a consultation with a client whose primary care, again, a lot of it breeds ignorance. And basically the doctor was like, well, told my client, my patient, why do you take supplements? They don't work. I'm like, wow, that's about the most asinine subject in the world. Because then she even followed it up with more of an asinine subject and said that you should be able to get all your vitamins, minerals, nutrients out of your foods, except for the fact that in America, all of our food is nutritionally just wiped out and everything
completely depleted. Yeah,
completely depleted. So it doesn't matter. Again, you can unless you're growing your chicken or or your cow or whatever animal, or if you're not growing it, then there's no proof into how legit it is. You follow me? And then on top of that, like, it's funny, she just kept contradicting herself, because then she's like, well, he's like, well, you drink milk, don't you? And she's like, well, yeah. He goes, well, that's fortified with vitamin A and vitamin D supplement. Well, that's different. Well, how's it different? It's the same thing. Then she was like, well, and then the biggest one, what was amazing to me is, why do you take B complex? Well, because B complex runs your biochemistry. See, this is what happens. Is like, I love talking to you guys, because we can educate people. Because what happens is this audience and the people get stuck with these healthcare providers who don't have the education, and then they just feed this information like it's the gospel, and the people don't know any better, so they buy it, and it's nonsense. And then I got to come back and unfix everything, because then what happens to me? Then they come and question, well, why did you tell me to take this? Why did you tell me to take this? Why did you do it? Well, because I've been trained in all of this. This is your primary care doctor,
right? Doc, it's funny, because I remember back in the day, and I want to get your other guys' inputs on this, how it was for you guys, JP and Phil and Big Naz. But back in my day, I had so many debates with doctors that had no clue about nutrition, absolutely no clue. And I'm like, are you kidding me? You go to school, and of course I found out later what it was all about, right? It's all about, you got an ailment, let me write you this prescription, man. Let's look at the ailment. What's going on? What are you taking? What's in your food? Where does it come from? Well, we know our soil is depleted. We know that. So yes, vitamins and minerals and supplementation are really good. But then again, there's another avenue. You have to find the right ones that are not loaded with GMO substances and fillers and binders. So there, so they get us every way, but and we have to watch the stuff put in our bodies. And I agree with taking all these things to help us, but we're continuing to harm ourselves by, you can't eat out and get 100% natural food without any pesticides, herbicides.
No, impossible. It's impossible.
No,
you're gonna go broke, and the service industry can't sustain that. You know what I'm saying? Because how much does that cost? Right. How much does if you have a big restaurant, how much does it cost to get those specific foods that you're watching? No, you got to mass produce, you got to pre-cook things, you got to freeze things, you got to bring them back out. You don't have that kind of time.
But I know that a lot of bodybuilders, per se, since this is our background, don't eat healthy. We all think they do. You got your regular bodybuilding foods. But if you look at what's in them, what's covered with them, what's going on inside this food, most of these people are not eating well, as you know, and they're low, and you're taking in all these toxins over time. And it's not hard to find foods that don't have these massive amounts of pesticides, herbicides, and toxins. It's not hard to find, man. And I've been trying to teach people that for years, and it's the most important thing to do, is just feed your body with the healthiest foods. I tell everybody I know, go get the Dirty Dozen Clean 15. It's online, and that's what, when you go to the supermarket, there's a Dirty Dozen Clean 15 list. And the Dirty Dozen is 12 different fruits and vegetables you should never, ever, ever eat conventional. You have to eat them organic because they're loaded with pesticides and herbicides. But there's Clean 15 that you eat fruits and vegetables. You can eat them conventional because they're not sprayed and they don't contain herbicides and pesticides for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
So this is my issue when it comes to feed, when people are talking about health and nutrition and stuff like that, man. Especially we're athletes.
Steve, I learned a lot from you, and absolutely when I advise people, I try to implement all that. I have a whole stack of Clean 15, the 30 dozen lists on my counter, and I give them out. We try to order for our clients meats from a farm called 915 Farm. You can watch it online. You can watch the videos how they raise it. We try all of that. But it's also a fact that it's very, very hard. Not these things, you can always go when you eat a vegetable and it's on the Dirty Dozen thing, you can eat it organic. That's not a sacrifice. But it's very, very hard on a lot of people to stick with some kind of diet, and we can always support. But at the end, it's unfortunately, it's something is about balance. You know, it's you can't tell an overweight woman, here is your plan, you will live longer. It will not happen. You know, she will come back. You know how it is. In 2 or 3 weeks, I went to McDonald's, I went this, I went that. This has to be some kind of a balance, and this might be a lot easier for people with our background. We're used to suffer and eat healthy, and for a lot of people, it's just very, very, very hard. You know,
absolutely. And it's a convenient factor, and people have a hard time cooking for themselves. And you know, if you are going to be in a place where you're going to take care of yourself, I mean, at the ultimate level, excuse me, you are going to have to spend more time in the kitchen preparing all these foods, like we did as bodybuilders, but even more so now watching the stuff you eat. But yes, you're right. It's very hard to do with a lot of people. But it's like anything, right, guys? It's baby steps on learning to get rid of all these toxins. And Doc, when we're talking about this, and you prescribe, you're prescribing more peptides or TRTs when it comes to longevity, or what is it that the most people are asking about?
I think your first initial step in the door is going to be hormone replacement. That's right. Popular because people have heard about it. You know what I'm saying? Somebody, you can go probably less now than 6 degrees of separation, and somebody's going to know something about testosterone or hormone replacement. That usually gets them in the door, but because a lot of them are naive to what the other stuff is involved. So then that's when we begin to open the discussion with peptides. And like I said, myself, you know, I've actually moved, you know, I have access, but I've actually moved to I do my labs every month so I can adjust my testosterone. Look at what I'm eating. What did I do this month? What medications did I? So, because for me, my 3 months for me wasn't enough because there'd be some skewing. I'm like, man, what did I do wrong the past 3 months? But month to month, I know exactly what's going on. Like, unfortunately, right now, I'm getting ready to get scheduled for surgery on my back. And my doc's like, look, I don't mind giving these meds, but you got to watch, your kidneys and your livers. And I'm like, yeah, I said, no problem. I'm doing that monthly. So he was impressed at the fact that I'm looking at myself monthly to say, hey, look, okay, I need to back off of this or do that. But you don't have access to this stuff. But like we were saying, as far as, these foods, they make it so easy. Like I said, it's a couple bucks to pick up candy and chips. But geez, if you go buy something good, these people, you almost take the average person out of the mix because they can't afford it. Yeah. It's terrible.
It's true.
I agree. Don't get me wrong. Chick-fil-A is not the best food at all for you, but it's a sad day and a sad state of affairs. And you guys know this, that let's say a family of 3 or 4 go to Chick-fil-A, they're going to spend $60, $70, $80 on, and I agree with you, Steve, on nutrient poor food.
Right.
Just empty calories.
Absolutely.
You just paid $70, $80 for nonsense.
Right. Convenience. That's it.
It is a lot of convenience, man. And I believe personally, in my opinion, is a misconception when it comes to protein for athletes, especially bodybuilders. And when it comes to this, like, everybody thinks you need a lot of meat. But in the convenience factor of terms of having meat, yeah, it's easier. But when you're trying to eat foods that are more towards, like your beans and your grains, a lot of fruits and vegetables, as long as you are having them that has the least amount of pesticides and herbicides, here's where you're going to get most of the nutrients out of this food. And you don't necessarily have to eat as much meat. And I've had this debate with a lot of people, and I've been there as a bodybuilder, guys, for a year and a half. As a vegetarian, I'm not advocating vegetarianism, but I don't believe we need as much meat as we can, and we can eat healthier if we kind of eliminate more of the meat. Because again, unless you eat, like you were saying, JP, unless you have a farm in your area, which we have around here, and that's the only thing I buy. I buy my meat from a farm, and if you can't get it from there, you can't get it at the food store, even if it says non-GMO organic, right, because they're actually infusing a lot of different hormones and vaccines into these meat that is not required to be labeled.
Exactly.
And then that's why they allow it to be safe. They say it's okay if it's organic and non-GMO. But and these other things that are in there are under this label system that they can put in there. So you're ingesting this shit. And that's why you have to have your own place around your own area. That's why communally having farms around you is the best way to support this stuff.
Well, yeah, and then, like you said, though, you're organic. You literally have to have less than a square foot of land on your property to call it organic, then call your entire farm organic.
Right. Yeah,
nonsense.
Right.
It's just like with the way back in the day, the potato chip, no trans fats per serving, which was like a quarter of a potato chip. Well, nobody eats a quarter of a potato chip. They eat the whole goddamn bag. So now you've just had 9,000 grams of saturated fat. But before you didn't, like I said, you're right, Steve. Again, these companies aren't stupid. They know exactly what they're doing. They know how to feed off of the brain. Refined sugar. And again, we've done it, functional MRIs to look at brain scans. You can give somebody refined sugar and the brain will light up more with sugar than it does cocaine. Sure. That's pretty crazy. And what do we pump? Sugar. Yep. Sugar. Not everything has sugar, refined, chemical. The brain, you've hooked on to, again, not only price, but you've hooked these people and you've made them addicts.
Absolutely. And Doc, I'm sure you're aware that this has been for years like this, that sugar is the number one, they call it the number one most addictive drug, not a food. They call it an addictive drug in our country.
Absolutely.
Apart from all the other stuff, but that's it's horrible what it's doing for children, let alone everybody else.
At the store today, and it's like, wow. I mean, you're setting these poor kids up for failure. I mean, they're getting so far beyond even being. It's not even the fact that they're out of shape. They're moving on to morbidly obese at 10, 11, 12 years old. Right. Yeah, it's very hard. I mean, it's very hard to reverse that whole cycle. And really, at the end of the day, whose fault it is? It's a parent. We all know as children, you're a byproduct of your environment. Right. Kids don't have money. They're not going to go out and spend $100 and $200 at the grocery store on cookies. Their family does, and it gets fed to them.
Yep. We used to have a saying: "Follow a fat kid home to a fat parents."
Of course.
And of course you see that. The kids I see around here are so obese, and this is California. You didn't see this in the 70s.
No.
Not one
you see it, man, it's incredible now.
Yeah.
The level of obesity out here is tremendous.
Yeah.
I was telling Big Naz a while ago when I look online, I was seeing some of these old pro bodybuilders we know and the way they train and stuff like that. I still don't agree with some of the heavy duty and the things they do, man. But the fact is that when these young people of today look at guys like us from back in the day, it's almost like they want to emulate us in a lot of different ways. But if we don't help educate them on what they're putting in their bodies, man, you can train till the cows come home. Right. You can get results, but it's about adding these. I mean, and you're right, Bill. I mean, that's everywhere now. I mean, obesity is everywhere. There's a story. I remember a story when Barry DeMay first came to America, okay? Apparently, Jim Mannion picked him up at the airport. And they were walking through some place in the mall or something, and Barry DeMay has never been here. And he turned to Jim and he said, "Hey, Jim, why are Americans so fat?"
Yeah.
And I'll never forget that story. I forget who told it to me. And it was true or not, but that statement is true to this day.
It's true.
We're getting worse as a country, man. Our young kids today, oh my gosh, man.
They said 42% of the country is obese right now. And then by 2030, it'll be over 50% obese.
Yeah. If only we had hair like Shiraz.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. My hair is just
I love what you've done with it.
Change it up, guys. What's going on? You good?
Good. You doing all right?
Yeah. Well, I changed my hair like this where it is now, so there's no more like comb overs and all that stuff. So I'll keep it like this.
I like it.
Hey, Doc, you mentioned something about you getting back surgery. What did you do?
Yeah. So we've pretty much exhausted all the options. We've done 2 different rounds of epidurals, a couple rounds of SI joint injections, and no relief at all. We're talking maybe like an hour or 2 of relief. So I went and talked with my doc. We're going to neurosurgery, but really, really good neurosurgeon. He's trained specifically in minimally invasive. So we're really going to go with him. And
I lost him. We lost him.
It's frozen.
Oh no!
Goes up.
I mean, that's a good. That's a good way to end it. There. Do you know what I mean? The face.
Yeah. The face of, oh shit, my back hurts.
What do we do here, man?
Shiraz, are you competing this year or no?
Not this year. No, I'm going to be doing next year. Taking the whole year off of just an off season, just trying to get big.
Yeah.
Just making improvements to my physique.
Yeah. You still working with Ian?
Still working with Ian. Yeah.
Okay, good.
He's like every week we just do something different. Like we're catching up. We're doing training. It was just like last week we were just doing all this sort of like training different workouts for my back and everything else. The biggest one I had from last year, Jason, was the judges said to me I have to work on my back and my chest, my arms. That's it. Everything else is fine.
Okay.
I was like, so that's what I need to do.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah. And you're still young, man. You got plenty of time.
Yeah. I'm just enjoying the off season and being a fat cunt.
Yeah, there you go.
So I don't need to worry about any competitions to yet.
Yeah. Oh, we got him back.
There you go.
What happened, Doc?
Yeah.
You good,
Well,
Doc?
Once we get them back, when I get the chance,
Oh, he's gone again. Oh no.
You got him twice here. Let me.
Someone needs to take a screenshot of this. You know what I mean? Take a screenshot of this.
There we go.
There, I got it. I got
All
you.
right.
Okay.
Now, was your back pain due to football?
Yeah, football. I mean, I have 3 full-blown out herniations. I got one good disc, and then the last one's bulged. So L1, L2's bulged, 2 3s herniated, 3 4s herniated, 4 5s herniated, 5 S1's gone. So
that sounds painful.
Damn, buddy.
So I mean, it's like what Steve said. I mean, and again, I don't have any regrets in my career in the way I did things.
Yeah.
I don't, but I'll be 48 next week. Now it's when you are younger, but it's kind of like, I robbed Peter to pay Paul. Now Paul's looking for his money and Peter's broke, and it's coming out. Unfortunately, it's coming out of my health per se. My not my physical, but my anatomical health is deteriorating pretty good from the heck that I put it through,
Yeah. Well, but Doc, it's when you look at the kids today, we don't want them to get to that level. Like, for example, I was picking up my girl from high school yesterday, and I saw an old client, he's the same age as my girl, 16-year-old. His mom was there, and I was talking to her, and we were having a little chat, and we got in discussion. Like, how's Reese doing? What's going on with him? And she goes, well, the training. I said, how's the training going? And she started talking about how she didn't like how the coaches at school continued to push 1 rep maxes with these kids. And they had these contests. And I'm sorry, man. When you teach these kids at that age to do 1 rep maxes, yeah, there's going to be a lot of young ego going on. But you're teaching these kids to start at a place where it's going to harm you later on because it's going to be instilled into your brain when it's not the way for you to get better and stronger and faster and bigger. It doesn't work that way, man. That's powerlifting. A lot of powerlifters I know are hurting to this day, man. So the heavy lifting is not worth it.
I agree.
I was there, man. I was guilty of doing some of it, man.
My knees will tell you that too.
Yeah, but you look at someone like Dexter, and he's adamant. And I've trained with Dexter. I grew up with him. He's most of it, but probably 90% of his workout, if not more, was all machines. He was
right.
How often was Dexter ever hurt? He really wasn't.
No,
he never came out with a torn bicep or torn quad. He never came out in anything ever really hurt, and he always stayed machines. Movement. Consistent tension all the way through the movement, and he's still healthy and good. So I mean, obviously he did something right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, JP, did you see Charles Griffin tore his pec?
Yeah.
I did not. I hope
Yeah.
it's not too deep. That I don't know how deep is it here.
It says it's a level 2.
Oh, really?
Is that?
I mean,
that's pretty
visible is it?
significant because usually your 3 is going to be your full thickness. That's where it's going to be complete detachment.
Grade 2 pec tear, doing dumbbell presses.
Ah,
Yeah,
Was it heavy? Was it heavy lifting, Jason?
It looks. I mean, the dumbbells. The picture over here look like 150s probably.
Yeah. They're fairly heavy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Again, how many times have you guys seen that? Right? Have you guys seen that like on Instagram, YouTube? How many times have you seen them with a lot of these old timers and even some of the newer guys today? They're still training with heavy duty weights. I mean, that's just my personal opinion, man. You're on a disaster path right there, man. Teaching other people to do that. You know, I mean, you guys know as well as I do. It's just you can't have progress if you're lifting heavy like that all the time. And everybody we know that has done that has been injured.
Eventually been injured. Yeah.
Do you know what that is though? I think because everyone's trying to follow Ronnie Coleman and Dorian Yates, how they used to train as well. You know all that stuff. That's part of why they're doing it. These guys.
I mean, if you look at both of them now, neither one of them are training. Ronnie's still training, but I mean, come on.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. He just trains now because he's passionate about it. That's
exactly
about all.
Yeah.
JP, did you have something for the doc? I got questions I can start.
Yeah, I do have a bunch of questions, but I'm so sorry about Charles. I mean, sometimes depending on how deep it tore into the chest muscle. Like Kevin Levrone had a great career after he tore his chest muscle. Hunter has only a small piece missing, so let's hope it's not, centimeter-wise or inch-wise, not too deep into the chest, and he can continue. Okay, now to the doc. I'm sure once you told me he's here, I wrote down a whole bunch of questions because I want to take the chance to ask him some stuff. So I don't know if he was here since I did my detox. I did a 2-week detox. I did kind of a program which made sense to me, and I didn't want to start myself to that. I did 3 meals a day, mostly some oatmeal, nuts, a little bit of rice and veggies. Cheated a little bit on my last meal. I had some fruit, had plenty of fruit. Cheated a little bit on my last meal because I really gotten hungry. So I made a little bit of an organic tomato sauce, which I know tomatoes are not supposed to be in a cleanse. But other than that, I felt so good after 2 weeks. And one of the things I used is this methylene blue. So what I know from you in the past, when it comes to the dosage, you say start with 100 milligram and then go to a 25 milligram maintenance dose. So once I run into some kind of trouble, which you probably can imagine what kind of trouble when it comes to turning blue. Before I did twice a day, 25 milligram, and I kind of stick with the 50 milligrams a day. So I did figure out then how to make it better with vitamin C and with baking soda and waiting after I mixed the stuff. But it was quite a sight at first. Even brushing my teeth hardly made a difference the first time. But now,
I thought you were going to fly over here.
Yeah, I was not happy with you. Let's say that.
I know, buddy.
So when it comes to the methylene blue, I talked to Steve about how long can you take it, and he said only a month. How you see that? How long can you take methylene blue? How often? How many times a year?
So this is kind of what I do is usually once a quarter. So I have access to methylene blue capsules. So I'll do a full month of methylene blue. Also, I have it available in an IV. So usually once a month, I'll do an IV push of about 30 milligrams of methylene blue. And then 4 times a year, I'll do a whole complete oral treatment of methylene blue for 30 days at a time.
Yeah, I'm having a tough time.
Yeah, 4 times a year. So every quarter.
Tough time. Yeah, I'm a tough time finding the vitamin centers, the infusion centers. They don't know anything about methylene.
No, they don't. No, they don't. No.
Yeah. I have to see where I can do that push. I have a question also about peptides.
Yeah.
As I many times talked about my peptide program here, especially the one who I take against inflammation, gut health. I have TB500 in that program.
Yes.
Somebody told me who sells peptides that TB500 only works if taken 2 months at a time. Is that correct? Is that true?
So normally what I will do, so this is how I alternate like BP157, TB500. I'll go 1 month of TB500, then 1 month of BP157. I alternate months. That's how I do it. That's the way I've got the best result. That's more anecdotal.
Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. It's more anecdotal that it only works if you do it 2 months at a time. Remember, and I understand the premise of what they're saying is because like your TB500, your GHK copper, things like that, they're going to be restorative and regenerative in nature. So it's going to take time. What I have to really educate my patients about is like, look, we're going to start TB500. This isn't, you're not going to see this immediate change. Like if I was you to take an opiate or a pain pill or something like that, it's going to take a while because you got to remember, you're now fixing the pain generator. You follow me? When we take medications, all we're doing is blocking the pain, but we're doing nothing to fix the generator. So I agree with the length of time. It just depends on what like I like to mix mine.
So if I stick with how I did it in the past with 3 weeks of PPC 157, 3 weeks of TB 500, and 3 weeks KPV, and then start over again, that's fine, huh?
Yep, 100%. That's great. And KPV
is it okay
great.
if I take?
KPV is awesome for gut health. I mean, that's just incredible.
Yeah. Is it okay if I just take 1 or 2 weeks off after I'm done and then start over again?
Yep, that's what I do. I'll run 1 month, take a couple, like 2 weeks off, and I restart over.
Okay, then that's it when it comes to peptides and methylene blue for now. I have another question about trenbolone, kind of unrelated, and it's a little bit of a jump. So over the years, many times when I work with people, whenever we switch to trenbolone, people have issues, mental issues. They can't sleep, they don't feel well. I read some stuff that it's connected with protein, which is found often in Alzheimer patients. And after hearing that and the more and more negative kind of reports coming back to me from my athletes, I kind of did not eliminate it, but I slowed down on how often I tell people to take tren. Do you know anything about tren and how bad it is and why and the connection to Alzheimer?
So, I mean, the whole thing with tren, remember your 19 nortestosterones, like your DECA, your NPP, your tren, and your MENT, they're still also synthetic progesterones. They can cause progesterone levels to rise. So that's where you'll get some of your sweating and stuff, as well as it's going to, the big thing is it's going to upregulate prolactin, which is a female hormone to make milk. But with the upregulation of prolactin, you're going to get a downregulation of dopamine, which is central nervous system, core to like our caveman and woman brain. You follow what I'm saying? And when you begin to start to overrun the central nervous system, you downregulate that. That's when you get into the problems, because what you're doing is you're increasing neural inflammation. Remember, Alzheimer's in the protein is the tau protein that eventually begins to become tangled with the amyloidoid plaques that are your hallmarks of Alzheimer's disease. But go back to your methylene blue. Now your methylene blue produces PGC1 alpha, which does mitochondrial biogenesis, as well as it untangles the tau proteins, which would go then as well lead to the Alzheimer's disease. But a lot of it has to do central nervous system. That's where the people get themselves in trouble, is they end up staying on trend for too long, down regulating that. They're strong, they're ripped, they're aggressive, good libido, but when they come off, it's like crash and burn. So a lot of times when I have athletes come to me, having me watch them, I'll put them on cabergoline, which again is going to bring down prolactin, upregulate dopamine. But I also use another medication called apomorphine. Apomorphine you give the Parkinson patients because it increases dopamine. So those would, like, even if I take DECA myself for my joints, if they're hurting, I never take DECA without cabergoline and apomorphine. So I never get any of the side effects that DECA would ever give to somebody because I'm completely taking care of my central nervous system.
Very good. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
You got more, JP? Or you good?
Yeah.
One thing really quick. I'm sorry. One thing we were talking about, like, you get me going on mitochondria, is something I read. I read a really big article. When you start, again, just for the coaching and stuff too, remember this is something I want you to remember, JP, and all you guys. Anytime we're going to start to take any anabolics, obviously they're going to turn androgenic, most of them. Remember what happens when we start taking androgenic drugs, and this is interesting, I didn't know this, it down-regulates mitochondria in the heart. So all these things we talked about, remember 2 years ago, we were talking about all the, we did all the unfortunate podcasts with the people passing and their hearts were so big because the blood was too thick. Yes, but what happened is the massive amount of drugs causes a massive downregulation of mitochondria. Remember, mitochondria, the powerhouse of your cell, they are your energy. And what do these guys die from? Congestive heart failure.
Mm-hmm.
What's congestive heart failure? It's an energy-deprived heart. How do you deprive the heart of energy? You get rid of the energy producer, which is mitochondria. So a lot of athletes now, when they come to me and coaches, I'll say, look, we need to put them on some type of mitochondria booster per se, be it MOTS-C, 5-amino-1Q, methylene blue. That needs to be part of their cycle per se, in order to make sure that they're protecting their heart.
Mm-hmm.
So what's this first, MOTS-C? What's that?
What MOTS-C, MOTS-C. You do. Go ahead.
What can PGMGF do for your heart?
I mean, your PEG mechanic growth factor is going to be an IGF-1. It comes in that lineage. So remember, your IGF-1, and you know this, that's your anabolic property of growth hormone. So what you have to be careful to an extent, not over. And that's why I love peptides, because you know this, more is not better. Using anabolics, you do a shot of testosterone, do 3 shots of testosterone. See, you got to remember with peptides, they're signaling molecules. So once that receptor has what it needs, more doesn't work any better. You follow me? And so with that, the only thing you have to be careful with, with your IGF-1s is, again, they're anabolic. So they're going to make tissue grow. And you have to be careful of hyperplasia, which is the growth of new cells. So not only are you getting bigger cells, but you're getting new cells and you're making those grow. Again, you can get that enlarged heart. What happens with the enlarged heart is very critical here. When we do aerobic activity, the heart, as an athlete, our heart will get bigger, but the chamber of the heart will get bigger as well.
Mm-hmm.
But what happens when you're doing anaerobic, or you're just loading up on gear and you're not really doing a lot of cardiovascular activity, the heart will get thicker, but the chamber still stays small. So now the heart's having to work. They're not in unison, and the heart's having to work too hard, and that's where your failure ends up coming into play.
So how long can I take PGMGF till I have to take a break?
Me personally, I run all my peptides 12 weeks, and then I switch to something else. 12 weeks is enough, because it really at the end of the day, after that it becomes a rate of diminishing returns. you're just not, you're
So
taking
in the past,
same amount, but you're not getting that same percentage back.
So I usually take them way shorter. So 4 weeks and 2.
4 weeks could be a little short.
Wrong? Should I take them
8
longer?
to 12, 8 to 12, 12 being the high end, 8 being lower. Four is just, in my opinion, not enough time to really get it kicking in before you're going to be done with it. I think you would see more by the time you did your 4 weeks. Now you have that next 4 weeks, that from weeks 4 to 8, I think you'd really see a huge spike up in what you're doing.
So one of the programs I kind of always recommended is where you take IGF LR3 and then twice a week in certain phases when people train very hard, DHE, MGF. Is there a problem when taken at the same day? Should it be like several hours apart from each other? Or should the 2 days a week when I take the LR3, should I take LR3 off the table that day when I inject the DHE, MGF? Or does it not matter?
Yes, because remember your MGF, insulin growth, IGF-1, but it also releases stem cells. It also will help the body release stem cells. On turn, IGF-1, the IGF-1 LR3 is going to cause those cells to grow more exponentially. So what I'm getting at is, yes, I would rather, when you're going to take your 2 days like that, then don't take the other. Let that one just rest out.
Very good, very helpful. Quickly back to the methylene blue. Why only 1 month?
Because it's I'm actually reading a book on it now about different just aspects of it. I'm still not, I haven't had enough research to go longer than that. I feel safe with about a month because, again, still it is a stain. I do want to make sure my body clears it out as well. You follow me? It does good things, but I also, anything too long is too toxic. For me, myself, anecdotally, I've seen to get the best results when I go right about a month.
Mm-hmm. One client
and the stuff that I sent you, JP, that we have, it doesn't really tell you either. And that's why I researched that. That's why I asked you to talk about that. But I don't know what it is. Some type of oxygenated thing that is going on after a while. I don't know.
Yeah, because now you're running too much stress. You want then now you get into oxidative phosphorylation. You're starting to push that boundary a little bit too much.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. One client sent me a picture, and I didn't quite know how to answer that. He just sent me a picture of it had a brain on the left side, which looked normal. On the right side, there was a picture of a heavily shrunk brain, totally blue, and it said underneath, brain treated with methylene blue. What is that about?
I would have to look, but I disagree because the neural inflammation is what's going to cause your brain shrinkage. You follow what I'm saying? The loss of mitochondria, the loss or the increase of neural inflammation with the tangling, you're going to have the brain shrink. That you'll see that in dementia. You'll see that in Alzheimer's disease and a healthy brain. Now I have to look out. Let me do some research on it.
There was no context. There was no context to the picture. It just sent me that picture, and that's what
the other day I had to argue with a patient. So because they would say, "Well, I read this, I read that," and they kept arguing with me. And so I always, and you can always, I always help you in any way I can. If it's not peer-reviewed journals, I'm not interested in it. That's science, right? Because we can all go online and find whatever answer we want. Mm-hmm. And like I said, everybody, now with these platforms and social media, podcast, everyone has their ability to express their opinion unfiltered.
Yeah.
And so people, again, you guys were back in the day were incredible athletes. You have power. People look up to you. You guys are great. That's why I'm on the show. But you get people in your position who don't care and can just spread verbiage, and people are going to hang on to every word you guys say. Mm-hmm. And then you can just make these bold statements. Oh, don't take methylene blue, make your brain small. Okay, well, I'm not taking it because so-and-so said it. Well, what proof is it? There's no proof behind it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Science behind it.
Yeah, the
Exactly.
science behind
That's
methylene.
that's why I tell people, look, yes, I'm a doctor, but I'm a scientist. It's
Mhm.
very
Yeah,
simple. I have a PhD. I'm a scientist. If it ain't black and white, I don't want to hear about it, because again, yeah, you're opening up Pandora's box with interpretation. I don't practice medicine based on interpretation or belief. I practice on science. It's either this or it's that.
Mhm.
I forgot the point. I'm sorry, we're gonna kind of going back to peptides again. It's kind of back all over the place here. I had a very good article, which I unfortunately can't find, as I was trying to pull it for today, which said that it's really great to take GH and LR3 together. And why? Would you agree on that? And why?
So I would do the IGF-1 LR3 prior to workout. I would do the growth hormone at night. Like if I was gonna split this up, like it depends, again, scheduling wise. Like I would do my growth hormone in the evening. I do my growth hormone in the morning when I got up, but then prior to my workout, that's when I would do my IGF-1 LR3.
But for me, as an anti-aging kind of agent, that's fine not to take GH. Just stick with the peptides. With the
I agree. Again, growth hormone is great, but it's expensive.
Mm-hmm.
But then second of all, it's going to mess up the negative feedback system in your body, just like testosterone, any of these androgens will do. Peptides are the great, are going to, in my opinion, going to revolutionize medicine, because first of all, they don't down regulate the negative feedback system. They are not toxic. They're natural. They break into inactive amino acids. So the body either has the ability to just eliminate them or recreate a new protein out of the other amino acids that are left. They're great. You can't abuse them because more is not better. You're just wasting them. And like I said, remember with growth hormone, you're going to get a rise in what? Cortisol, prolactin, and aldosterone. Aldosterone is going to make you retain sodium. Aldosterone is also toxic to the vascular system. Cortisol, cortisol is what? That's a cat. Now you're taking growth hormone because you're trying to build. But what is cortisol? Cortisol is a catabolic hormone, which means to break down. So now you're too much. Now you're counteracting them. Cortisol's high, growth hormone. Now you're just beating each other to death with that. And then now prolactin. Now, like I said, now you start having women issues and dopamine issues.
So another big issue, maybe not you as a doctor, but a lot of us have, is quality of peptides, or question we buy.
Yes.
How much can we trust those big companies online?
Good question.
It's tough. Yeah, I will. I don't want to say it here because I don't want to get anybody in trouble per se. But if you guys want to text me, email me, I'll tell you some of the ones that I use. I've worked with a couple of the owners who are PhDs themselves. They have the assays available, and I've used them. I've used them on patients when I couldn't get peptides or certain ones, and they're a little more pricey, but I stand behind it. I just don't want to, because you got to still remember, in this area, in this arena, peptides, if they're not prescribed, they're going to say they're not for human consumption and for research. So there's a gray area where you get through all this, but I don't want to get anybody in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Makes sense. Look, there's no difference in the supplement industry, for crying out loud, man.
Oh, well, you got to see what they're doing to us now. Medical, like I said, obviously my practice is big. We do plenty of things, but they have, right now in America, it's almost impossible to find Clomid and clomiphene. We can't even, the supply chain is so, we just had in our office 22 orders go out for enclomiphene for every reason to increase testosterone fertility. We had to go, and my poor wife and my staff worked their butts off and called all these people and had to tell them that we can no longer get it. And the pharmacies don't know when they're going to get it.
Yep.
And it's a completely supply chain. And so now, again, I just had a gentleman today. I put him on my fertility protocol right off the rip. Wife's 11 weeks pregnant after running steroids for over 15 years. Wife's pregnant. But now you're taking that out of my hands, because now the stuff that I want to use, you're not allowing me. Peptides, TB500, they've taken off the market for me to prescribe. Thymosin alpha 1, they've taken that off the market for me to prescribe. And thymosin alpha 1, huge for immune modulation. It's what I took during COVID and never got it, nor did my staff ever get it, but that's gone now. Now you can get it from the other sites, but as a prescription, you can no longer get it. They're pulling the things away. And I don't know if you guys, you may or may not, you might have read it in some of the, you heard, but starting May 12th, and I agree to an extent because you're getting out of control with stuff, but these online TRT clinics, no more. They're gone. Wow. They're going to be gone. And why they're going to do that is basically right now with your online TRT clinics, you're calling saying, hey, I don't feel that great. And next, they're loading you up on some type of monthly membership. So you get your testosterone, Viagra, Cialis, and maybe thyroid with no regulation. So now government done. Now by law, you have to. So that's even for me, which is fine. I don't care. It works out great for me. But any new patient starting on May 12th, I have to see them initially in person. Mm-hmm. See, these other places, they're not even brick and mortar. They got doctors. I've been approached by companies. Hey, if we hire you, will you come and review charts and write prescriptions for us? I can do that for the privacy of my own home. I've never seen the patient. So now they're making you at least see the patient one time in order to write that controlled substance. Wow. But that's as of May 12th. So these online clinics, and if they're doing it, that's fine. But you're messing with the wrong, you're messing with the government, and they'll nail you any way they want to nail you. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to beat them. So, but I don't agree with the, like I said, the big pharma and the insurance. You're taking away good products that really help people. Everyone wants to bitch and moan about testosterone, especially these naive doctors who know nothing about it. But now you're taking away the ability for us to give men something quote unquote natural. They can make their own testosterone. So now you're basically putting it in my hands where, well, it's testosterone or nothing. I've had a lot of guys come to me like, I'm really not that sure about it. 25-year-olds with no testosterone. I'm like, look, I don't want to give you testosterone. You're too young. Now you forced my hand. Well, your testosterone is low. You don't feel good. Guess testosterone it is. And that's a shame. You're not doing anybody any service. It's nonsense.
Hey, Doc, what's the reason for the low testosterone levels in men these days?
Oh, what we talked about earlier in environment.
Okay. Environment.
What was that question, Phil?
Environment, because it has. It has literally nothing to do with steroid or recreational drug use.
Oh,
right, I have kids come to me. Like, I think I've said it before, statistically, probably 30% of my practice is under the age of probably 32. I can't tell you how many 20-year-olds I have on, not on testosterone, but on either Cloma and clomiphene or something like that, and just rocked out bottom testosterone. I've had in the 90s, mid to low 100s. I mean, it's terrible.
Well,
at 20, 21, 22 years old.
When this started, it was when the industrial revolution started, had all these chemicals and things were invented. And one of the biggest disruptors, I'm just trying to fill you in, Phil, about this, is that a lot of the phthalates in our supplies, like a lot of the plastics, especially the soft plastics, okay, they completely destroy your endocrine system, man. And this is what this study's been going on for years for testosterone levels with men in the world. It's not that you can't have sex. It's that your testosterone levels to reproduce are at a level where it's almost unsustainable for life in the next 20, 30 years. And this is this is a big problem in the world today that goes unnoticed. And that's why our food supplies it's all done on purpose. And again, and I'm not afraid to say it, because Big Pharma has got a, little tick in here. You need to take this drug here, man. Take this. Mm-hmm. It's all a vicious circle. I'm sorry, man, but we can.
Well, you think about it. 25, 30 years ago, the average testosterone level was between 6 to 1,500. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, depending on lab, I'm paraphrasing labs, 250 to 850. So now the high end of testosterone is only 250 points higher than the lowest used to be. Remember this from testosterone. Any testosterone level under 500, you're losing the cardiovascular protection that testosterone provides.
Yeah.
Okay. 700 is at least the bare bones minimum. That's why when I do my replacement on guys, I let them kind of feel where they need to be the best based on labs. If somebody comes in at 1400, but everything's healthy, what's the matter? They feel good. Who cares? Well, what am I to say that that's not a right level? Because the same difference, if I send, and that's what you're getting with a lot of doctors, is they're just looking at H's and L's. Oh, that's too high. That's low. You're not looking at the person. And again, when we get our labs done, there's no difference. They're not looking at my age or sex. You know what I'm saying? If we run a test, let's say we just run our regular labs, there's not a reference range for kidneys, for bodybuilding, females, children, or adults. Males, it's all the same. So you can't tell me that your physiology is the same as a female's or a 15-year-old, right? But that's what we go by. That's it. This is the standard. Oh, cholesterol's high. Same thing with cholesterol. Again, I fellow trained in metabolic cardiology. I do a lot of cardiac stuff. But when we start giving me statin drugs, remember, under a cholesterol of under 140, go ahead and ask if you're on a statin and your cholesterol is less than 140, go ahead and ask your doctor for an ED drug and ask him for testosterone replacement therapy, because you need your cholesterol to be over 140 in order to make hormones. Your estrogen, your progesterone, your cortisol, your testosterone. What do those all come from? Cholesterol. The cholesterol-based hormones. If you're wiping out your cholesterol, then you're wiping out your hormones. Well, and if you're wiping out your hormones, then you're wiping out your libido. So it's different. I'm giving you the statin because I want to protect your heart, allegedly. And I'm not saying, again, some people need it. I'm not saying that. But if we're just giving it because, I think you just need it to be down. Well, hold on. See, because what they're not writing, I think we've talked about this before, is they're not running the coronary artery calcium scores or the CT angiograms. Again, I had a guy come cholesterol 350, coronary artery calcium score 0. Now I know that doesn't show soft plaquing, but it shows calcification. So his cholesterol at 350 was 0.
But Doc, this is my problem when it comes to this, because as you know, it's the #1 prescribed drug in America is cholesterol drugs. All right, and more than anything, overprescribed.
Oh.
More than anything. And the fact is, as you know, you just hit the nail on the head with what comes out of cholesterol in our body. And the fact is, our cholesterols go up and down like this throughout the day, depending on what we're going through in terms of work and mind and things in life. And it's meant to do this. It's meant to do it to protect us. And we're supposed to have that up and down balance with the cholesterol. It's like, what is going on here?
But now they want, as soon as you've had a heart attack, they're starting to give, Repatha and different drugs to lower LDL, doing PCSK9 inhibitors. And we're dropping LDL cholesterol to the 20s and the 30s. But see, that's the thing. Like one of the big tests I run, I worked with Quest, and they developed me a protocol. Again, I don't care what your cholesterol is. What is going on with the inside of your arteries? So are we looking at Lp(a)? Are we looking at LP plaque 2? Are we looking at myeloperoxidase? Same thing with LDL. I don't care if your LDL is 500. What is your oxidized LDL? Because if your oxidized LDL is what's causing the issue, it's not the LDL. You follow me? And so if you're not looking at these things, then you're just not treating the people properly for cardiac issues. Same difference. I give the statin. What does it deplete? CoQ10. What's the biggest consumer of CoQ10? The heart. So the thing that we're trying to protect, we're destroying because we're taking away its major coenzyme.
Hey, Doc, you know what? On that note, I got to ask you a question. Do you guys actually have a nutritional evaluation with your clients and the people that come into your office? Do you guys go through stuff like that?
Yes, I actually, my trainer nutritionist at the gym, and we just actually have a nutrition coach in the office, a female as well. It's so vitally important. It's so vitally important.
I think it's one of the most important things to have in an office like
my
that.
My job is made so hard when we don't lay a foundation. Again, yes, I can make anything I want happen. You know, and I can also, we can talk about these peptides, methylene blue, stem cells, PRP, but if it's all going into a junk system, it's not going to work. These are the people that make my job easier, because now I can put this in. And again, maybe I only have to use the medication for 3 months. A lot of when I put people on statin, because I do have to, I understand that. I got to start it, but there's a lot of my patients that only take it 1 time a week. They don't even take it 7 times, and their cholesterol is fine. But when we pull it away, they make too much, and it's not healthy. So again, why are we not at least? And again, and Jason knows this. I tell people, if I put you on a medication, very simply, my retort back to you is, make me take you off of it. But I need to stabilize you, because again, if I can't stabilize you, then we're in the hospital. So look, your blood pressure's through the roof. Let's stabilize you, but now let's work on getting you off of it. See, now that's how you use medication.
Well, yeah, and I'm not anti-medication. I'm anti-over-medication.
Had a cardiologist today. I just had a retired cardiologist, 70-something years old. He used to tell his patients, "You're on too many meds. We need to get you off meds." Wow, refreshing. Especially that's an older doc. That's what we do. We just over medicate, and we take 2 or 3. Now I'm getting side effects, so now here's another one, because here we go. Because guess what? If I give you the statin without the CoQ10, the heart's messed up. But then what do you get? What does everybody say? I got leg pains. I got cramps. My legs hurt. Why? It's mitochondrial myopathy. What do I'm going to give you? Give you Lyrica, give you gabapentin. Okay, well, I just gave you a seizure drug, which has side effects. So let me give you this other. So now your cholesterol was 180, which is fine, but I put me on a statin. Now you got to put me on testosterone replacement therapy. You got to give me an erectile drug. You got to give me nerve pain medication. But then I have side effects. I got to give me more ED drugs, because that's going to kill my erection quality even more. But my cholesterol's 130 now. Awesome. What sense is, but I'm on all these meds now. And I'm not any healthier.
Yeah.
Yeah, guys, I'm going to shoot off because it's 2 a.m. in the UK, so I got to go sleep.
Fine.
So,
Shiraz, have a good one.
Nice.
Good seeing you, Shiraz.
Good seeing you.
See you guys.
See you, buddy.
Hey, Doc, I want to ask you a few questions, a couple of questions, specifically more to myself and my testosterone regimen. I do probably 3-4 blood tests a year. There's nothing unusual there. Occasionally, what creeps up on me is hemoglobin. That creeps up on me a little bit. So I take testosterone 100 milligram. Occasionally, 3 or 4 times a year, I take 200 milligram a week, but it's very, very rarely. It's mostly 100. Unfortunately, whenever my hemoglobin creeps up, I can't just donate blood, because I'm blacklisted in the centers here because of some old numbers, and I have a very tough time to get off that list. So I always have to go to the oncologist and go through the whole thing for several weeks. So I do this once a year, where I go about 6-7 times where they take blood out of me. So since I don't take any, occasionally I take HCG. Whenever I get some, I take it for a few weeks, like 2,000 or 3,000 a week.
Yeah.
But I don't take any clomiphene or anti-estrogens or anything like that, because there's no need for it when I look at my blood results.
No,
that's fine.
I'm not a big fan of estrogen blockers because of the damage that they do to the cardiovascular system, but also, so I will prescribe them based on need and what the numbers and what the person's feeling. But if their estrogen level is 55 or 60 and they feel great, they have no issues, then I'm fine with it, because you got to remember how much protection estrogen provides to the vascular system. So again, I understand when the guys and gals are competing, we got to get that estrogen down, because that's how you're going to get that, harder, grainier type of look. And I'm not talking about 4 weeks or 5 weeks of estrogen blocker all the time. I'm talking about long term, and like I said, that's what the issue is. And I don't like using them, but like I said, I don't want the estrogen too high though either.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the question out of this is, should I once a year go 4, 5, 6 weeks completely off testosterone,
No.
Or just
Absolutely
keep doing
not.
what I'm
And
doing?
I'm going to tell you, I told you, I'm always your guinea pig. So I had this, I don't know, I'm harebrained idea in January. I'm like, you know what? You know, I've been doing this a long time. You know, I'm going to really detox my body. I'm going to chelate it. I'm going to do tissue rejection drugs. I'm going to do chemotherapy drugs. I'm going to really clean my body out. I'm going to get off of testosterone. Holy Jesus. By the end of the 4th week, I'm like, this is the biggest mistake. I mean, I felt better, you know, like cleaning myself out, but my testosterone went down to about 225 or so. And this, all the pain that I had was just exacerbated. The fatigue, the tired, the lack of motivation. And literally within 2 weeks of getting back on the testosterone, it all started to come back.
Guilty,
So
man.
what I'm getting at is, remember, coming off of it for gentlemen of our age serves no purpose other than detriment. Now, JP, like you're saying, you're at 100. Sometimes you go to 200. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm talking about these guys that are doing, G.5 gram, 15. Now that's ridiculous. But no, you coming off 100 milligrams for 4 weeks or for a couple months will be more detrimental to your physiology than the positive you would get without being on it.
Hey, Doc, I'm going to weigh in on that because unbeknownst to you guys, I was talking to Big Naz a while ago. Just circumstances of family and life and things that I've been going through. But the last 4 months, all right, since the end of November, okay, I lost 18 pounds. And I'm going to tell you, I feel it. Haven't been in the gym. Guilty, man. Things happen. I can tell I was doing 0.50 milligrams every 4 days. I was doing roughly 100 milligrams a week. Felt the best I've felt in years. I got to be honest. I can feel the aches. I do a lot of mobility stretching. It helps me out a lot. But I'm going to tell you something firsthand that I realized because of the way our body's meant to be. I think every man should be on some type of TRT because you can't get it back to normal levels, even with the soil and the foods we have today.
You can't. And you're right. You're not going to bring there is nothing.
Yeah.
There is nothing that is going to bring back your testosterone levels other than, like I said, in clomiphene, clomid, testosterone. Yep. And again, using it correctly, because like I said, people will blast you on the statement that everyone should be on it. I agree. At the supervised, at the right dosing, it's all like you said. Your mental clarity goes away, your drive goes away. Hey, I got to work. I'm not as sharp. I don't feel like working the day. You know what? It's very easy not to train when you have no motivation and when you're hurting. I'm just going to rest. I'm going to rest. Now, I will never. That was my last time. And I haven't been off very many times in my life, but that's the last time I'm ever coming off.
Well, I got to tell you, man, being off for 4 months, brutal. I'm feeling it, guys, and it's not good. I'll tell you right now, I don't like it, and I'm a big believer, man. It's just, I'll tell you right now, I can't wait to start my cycle next week, so just to get back on and get on the regimen. Because you're right, I got no motivation, nothing, man.
And it's not about, like I said, using the testosterone replacement therapy has nothing to do with size and strength and gym. No, I'm just talking about as a man or as a woman for that fact. Just your sense of well-being is centered around that. And if anybody says it's not, they're full of it.
Yeah.
They're naive, they're full of it, and they're not informed.
I agree.
Yeah. Often when athletes send me their blood results, after 12, 14-week cycles, then usually about 3 or 4 weeks into during the break, I want some kind of blood results. The good cholesterol is often very, very low. What's the first thing you would say to that?
On the good cholesterol being low?
Yeah.
All right. So any of your anti-estrogens or your aromatase inhibitors are going to knock that down, and androgens downregulate HDL receptor and HDL production. So great. I think we've talked about it before. There's 2 SARMs out there. One of them, the Cardarine or the GW50 1516. I've seen a lot of bodybuilders using it now to kind of get a little more leaner prior to show, but it helps with cardiovascular endurance and it helps with HDL cholesterol. Next one, and this is, I used the Cardarine before and I've had favorable results, but I started using another SARM. It's called G as in girl, C as in cat, -1, so GC1. Oh my word. I guess I do my blood work every 30 days. My HDL cholesterol in 4 weeks went from 22 to 41 just by using this product. What it does, very simply, is you have what's called, you have 2 thyroid receptors. You have thyroid receptor alpha and thyroid receptor beta. Thyroid receptor beta is in the liver. GC1 stimulates the thyroid receptor beta in the liver to upregulate HDL receptors and HDL production. It's a little pricey, about 115 to 120 bucks, but phenomenal. I've never seen, I mean, again, and I've been on this stuff for a long time, and I've never had good HDL cholesterol. Even before even as a teenager, I didn't have it. If I have it in the 30s, I'm doing outstanding. But it brought mine up to, like I said, I think 22 to 21, 22 up to like the very low 40s. And that's only after 4 weeks. So I'm getting ready. I'll do blood here in another 3 weeks. So I'm curious, after 2 months, where is it going to be? Because if I can push mine up to mid 40s to 50s, I mean, you're talking about being in the mid 20s my whole life. So again, now you're talking about reversing some of these negative effects of people who are doing anabolics. Same difference with my fertility programs. I mean, I had another gentleman who was on anabolics for probably close to 23 years. You know, testosterone high, obviously driven by anabolics, but no, like you're talking about, Steve, no sperm count, not even low. We're talking 0, not 1, none of anything. Wow. 6 months of my protocol, testosterone naturally 700, sperm count 40 million, wife pregnant.
Good.
Wow.
So all of it can, let's say, do this stuff right.
Yeah.
Do it supervised, but you can also correct a lot of this stuff when it's time to be done with it.
Yeah.
GC1 is easy to get, I assume.
Yeah. I'll text you where to get it. Or just shoot me out a text, I would tell you. Then I'll say, well, what happened as soon as I say something, everyone will go there and they'll shut the place down. I won't be able to get it. And then I have a heart attack. Like, damn it, man, I already got my stuff.
Hey, Doctor,
one quick question before I'm kind of went through everything here. So somebody in my family, 78 years old, healthy, but doesn't do any sports or any really healthy food or anything like that. Pretty much a guy who hardly eats. So he's all freaked out after visiting the cardiologist that they say his calcium levels are extremely high. How can this happen with an older guy who hardly eats?
78.
So his coronary artery calcium score was high. Remember this: you are going to lay down calcium when your body is trying to protect or fix itself.
Absolutely, survival mode, man.
So that's what it's doing. So just like you said, you could have a relatively healthy person on the outside, but that's why, like I said, I trained under Dr. Mark Houston, cardiology, smartest guy I've ever met in the cardiology world. He took me away from heart and cholesterol-centric care to vascular biochemistry and cell biology. That's where I lay. And that's the issue with the 78-year-old, your family member, is he has poor arterial health. He may have great heart health. He may be relatively just healthy guy, but he has poor arterial health because nobody checked the little LP(a), oxidized LDL. They checked the cholesterol. They said, it's either high or good. We're fine. They checked it. It's high. We did three calcium scores off the top of my head in December. All 3 of those people, now we do a lot of them, but these are 3 that 3 people would not have made it 1 more year if we wouldn't have ran that test. Every single one of them, heart catheterization and stent placement, because either their LAD, which is the widowmaker, the backside of the heart, the circumflex, the left or the right coronary, were in excess of 80% blocked with calcium.
Wow. Yep, survival mode, man. Your body goes into survival.
Yeah, and that's what it is. Calcium is just your body trying. That's what. Why do you get a bone spur? Because that bone's being overworked, so it's laying down more calcium to try to protect itself. And that's exactly what will happen in the artery, and that's where you get the unstable plaquing. Remember, 64% of people who have heart attacks are only less than 50% blocked. We won't stent until you're over 75. So what happens is that the plaque breaks. So either it wedges or the noxious stimulus causes a vasospasm of the arterial wall, so the artery closes and no blood gets through. So,
But so since he's in,
hey, Doctor,
since he's in, go ahead, Bill.
Oh, I had a question for you. This is a little off the wall, but I'm going back 40 years, and this has always been a mystery. Before synthetic hormone, I remember talking Gold's Gym and going back to 81 about rhesus monkey hormone. Do you know ever hear anything about that, or does that ever exist?
I've heard of it because we used a lot of studies with them. It's actually funny why you use like rat and monkey studies, because that's the closest to our physiology. I'll have to look up a little more than that. Yeah, I will.
Okay.
I'm not well versed on it. No.
Yeah, this was long before. I'm going back to 1980, 81.
Okay.
I'm familiar with it,
man.
Yeah. Let me throw in a couple of these questions before we go, because some people sent these in. Some of them I'll just do some of the quick ones here. Doc, what is the best anti-estrogen to take?
The safest and the best to start with would be an estradiol.
Estradiol?
From an aromatase inhibitor. Anti-estrogen aromatase inhibitor is going to be an estradiol. The strongest to me is either going to be letrozole or exemestane or aramycin. Those are going to be your strong ones. And I reserve the use of those unless we just cannot get their estrogen down. But if you don't need to use them,
what do you do when somebody already has like real bitch tits as a bodybuilder?
Then I'll try letrozole to see if letrozole, I have had the nodding and everything go away. It's strong. It'll beat the shit out of you, but it'll work. I've gotten rid of that.
For about 2 weeks?
If not, then they've got to go have cosmetic surgery.
Yeah. For about 2 weeks, or how long you put the letrozole in?
Oh, at least a month. At least a month. Yeah. I'll run them 2.5 milligrams 3 times a week for a month. See what shakes loose. The longest I'll keep them on 3 will be 3 months to see if after 3 months, if it hasn't eliminated or at least gone down or showed progress, then I'm going to cut it and tell them you got to go surgery.
Will taking magnesium help my quad and calf cramps? Taurine doesn't help.
No,
yes. So, I mean, and Steve, I'll let Steve piggyback off of me. Yes, magnesium, first of all, it acts as a smooth muscle relaxer. So the cramping is due to muscle spasms. It's going to cause the muscle to relax. Also, magnesium acts as a natural calcium channel blocker, so it will lower your blood pressure. Then in my nerdy world of biochemistry, magnesium is the catalyst for over 400 biochemical reactions. So magnesium is a must with anybody who's athletic, and it helps with the cramps. I would not expect taurine to work as well, but I would tell them not to stop taking their taurine, because the #1 amino acid consumer of taurine is the heart. So taurine is beautiful for the heart. So don't stop taking it. Don't use the taurine for the muscle cramps. If you still have them, up your magnesium to bowel tolerance and stay on about 3 grams a day of taurine for the heart.
Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting.
Steve, you need to add to that? You good?
Oh, he got it all, man. And this is an imbalance. There's an imbalance with the minerals, and that's one of the biggest things. If you don't have the balance with the minerals, man, you get the magnesium, the calcium, the potassium. There's always a balance with all that, man. You can fluctuate them either one up or down. You're going to get a condition on each one of them depending on where you are, right, Doc? I mean, that's
100%. You get really quick. we'll get to the questions. Remember, most of your chronic diseases in America are mineral deficiencies. Are vitamin and mineral deficiencies. Remember, the body can make carbohydrates, fats, and proteins all day. It cannot make magnesium. It cannot make calcium. It cannot make sodium. It cannot make any of your selenium or zinc. It can't make any of those. And we're massively deficient. We've talked about it. But yes,
Absolutely.
that is why if you're going to train, you're going to do things, you need to add these vitamins and minerals and nutrients into your regimen in order to stay optimized.
Mm-hmm.
That.
Let me do one more here. What should we look for in fish oil supplement dosing, and what doses of DHA and EPA do you recommend?
Perfect. DHA, EPA, you got to make sure you got that. Now, the average, so this is what I do. My average patient, good health, I'm going to keep them on about a total of 2,000 milligrams a day. If I'm treating for arterial inflammation or heart health, I'll put them up to 4,000 a day.
Mm-hmm.
So
okay, so now
go ahead.
This is my problem with. I'll be the devil's advocate here, as you know, Doc. This is going to happen.
No.
Right? That entire industry. Now, I am a huge advocate of fish oil. That entire industry is saturated with refined fish oil that comes from all over the world. We don't know where it is. So right now, you have to have a reputable source to get good fish oils. And
yes.
You have to make sure. And one of the top ones, and again, there's still some knockoffs with this one, is krill oil. Krill oil is right now becoming one of the best sources for EPA and DHA for fish oils. But the problem is you got to find the right companies. There's only a few companies that make this stuff. And again, when it comes to fish oil, you've got to have the right company, because all you're taking in is adulterated oil that they refine and add fillers and additives to it. And like when you go to your Walmart and
you got to remember,
buy it off the shelf there where you're getting shit, man.
It's been sitting on in their stock room at 100 degrees, so it's going rancid.
Right.
My wife
completely rancid, man.
I will go
that's
ahead.
That's my take on that, guys.
You're right, and I'll give the audience a little bit. So my wife, who's its birthday today again, so I'm getting heat about that. She did something great on our website, and it is a plug though too. But my website for the business is antiagingdocs.com. If you go to that website, we've put up a link to what's called full scripts. Now, full scripts is what I use for my patients. Okay, and it's the way that I can send my patients provider graded supplements, are legit, third party tested. If you find those supplements online, that means they're either fake or some doctor or physicians bought a lot of it and now selling it on Amazon. But you can go on there, and what's beautiful about full scripts, there's no obligation. I have nothing to do with it. It's just something I believe in because I'm not a supplement salesman, but I know they work. So I tell people, go here. What's nice, there's hundreds of supplements. There's no obligation to be there. And once you sign up, you have it for the rest of your life. You can put it on auto ship. You can email me and say, hey, what do you think is it? I have a lot of my top 10 heart health, my top 10 just overall health. I have my protocols on there. But you can go on there and, like you were saying, see this at least, again, because I heard a good definition today of a dilemma. Okay. And a dilemma is picking the best of potentially two not good situations. Okay. So just like you said, Steve, you got to pick the best of the worst. Unless you're growing your own fish. So this, to me, the full scripts right there, the full scripts dispensary, that's what you're looking at, because this at least gives you peace of mind that the stuff you're getting is as legit as it can be. You follow me?
Mm-hmm.
So.
Absolutely.
But like I said, it's just a nice way. Again, it's because, like I said, it's a great way for me because I prescribe to that all the time. My CoQ10, that's the stuff that I take because the company I use, Orthomolecular, like I said, they did a big study. They spend millions of dollars a year tracing the internet. And like I said, there's companies like I said, they don't take nothing to print a label and do it. So like I said,
it's so easy now. Private labels are like crazy.
If you're looking for stuff there, that's where I would go because I trust them. Because like I said, and you can't go on to there unless you come through me. You follow what I'm saying? Nobody, you can't just sign up. You have to, the physician, that's why I put it on my website, is that I want everyone to know so they can sign up underneath me and just go. Because if you didn't have someone like me, you couldn't get on Full Stress.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Sounds like a plan, Doc.
Interesting. Well, JP, you still got anything else or what? We good?
I'm good. Thank you so much. That was great.
Great conversations tonight, gentlemen. Doc, always a pleasure, man. I love it.
Doc.
Oh, no, thank you for having me.
Try to salvage what little bit of time you have left for that birthday.
Yeah, wish your wife,
Go to it, man.
wish your wife a happy birthday.
Yeah.
I will do that. I will do that,
Sure you
guys.
say,
I
but
appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
All right, guys.
Gentlemen, good to see you guys.
Okay.
JP,
Thank you.
All right.
Phil, Jason,
All right.
talk to you guys later.
All right.
Boys.
Talk
We'll
to
see
you
you
guys.
guys.